Jai Shri Mataji. Welcome, dear brothers and sisters. Today we will meditate trying to develop and imbibe in ourselves the beautiful qualities of humility and surrender, which manifest at different chakras and sustain our capacity to become egoless. Let's do Namaskar, raise our Kundalini and take Bandhan. Benvenuti a tutti fratelli e sorelle. Jai Shri Mataji. Oggi mediteremo insieme cercando di sviluppare ed assorbire in noi le bellissime qualità di umiltà ed arresa che si manifestano nei diversi chakra e sostengono la nostra capacità di diventare privi di ego. Possiamo fare Namaskar, alzare la nostra Kundalini e prendere Bandhan. We can pray. Shri Mataji, please let us reach a deep meditation state by which we can clearly see ourselves. We can enjoy your presence in our hearts and we can evolve. Possiamo pregare Shri Mataji, per favore permettici di raggiungere un profondo stato di meditazione attraverso cui possiamo vedere chiaramente noi stessi, gioire della tua presenza nei nostri cuori e possiamo evolvere. Firstly, we worship our Lord Ganesh, who is the bestower of innocence, by which we become childlike. We can ask, please, Shri Ganesha, grant us innocence, which neutralizes ego. Per primo veneriamo Shri Ganesha, colui che concede innocenza, attraverso cui diventiamo come bambini. Possiamo chiedere, per favore, Shri Ganesha, donaci l'innocenza, attraverso cui viene neutralizzato l'ego. Shri Ganesh mantra 3 times, 3 volte. Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Ganesha Sakshat Shri Adishakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha. Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Ganesha Sakshat Shri Adishakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha. Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Ganesha Sakshat Shri Adishakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha. Then we move on the right channel, where Shri Hanumana resides. He is the destroyer of ego, the bestower of discrimination and wisdom, the master of balancing devotion on our left side and power, dynamism on our right side. So we can pray him. Please, Shri Hanuman, make us egoless. Reduce our pride. Let us see ourselves and laugh of ourselves. Grant us wisdom and discrimination between good and evil. Please give us balance between devotion and dynamism. Quindi ci spostiamo sul canale destro dove risiede Shri Hanuman. Egli è il distruttore dell'ego, colui che concede il discernimento e la saggezza, il maestro dell'equilibrio tra devozione nel canale sinistro e energia, dinamismo nel canale destro. Quindi possiamo pregarlo: per favore, Shri Hanuman, rendici senza ego, riduci il nostro orgoglio, facci vedere noi stessi e ridere di noi stessi. Concedici la saggezza e il discernimento, la discriminazione tra bene e male. Per favore, donaci equilibrio tra devozione e dinamismo. Mantra Shri Hanuman. Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Hanumana Sakshat Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha. Now we bring our attention in our heart. Here we seek the comfort of our spirit, the satisfaction of our spirit, the joy of our spirit. Shrimataji, we don't want to pamper, gratify, or satisfy our ego or the ego of others. We just want to become the spirit. Please come in our hearts. Let us clean our hearts so that you are there. Take us away from all the illusions. Keep us in reality. Take away the sheen of superficiality. Let us enjoy your feet, your divine lotus feet in our hearts. Ora portiamo la nostra attenzione nel cuore. Qui cerchiamo il conforto del nostro spirito, la soddisfazione del nostro spirito, la gioia del nostro spirito. Shrimataji, non vogliamo coccolare, gratificare o soddisfare il nostro ego o l'ego degli altri. Vogliamo solo diventare lo spirito. Per favore, vieni nei nostri cuori. Purifica i nostri cuori in modo che tu sia lì. Portaci via da tutte le illusioni. Mantienici nella realtà. Dissolvi il lustro della superficialità. Fa che possiamo gioire dei tuoi piedi, dei tuoi divini piedi di loto nei nostri cuori. When there is ego problem, then ego surrounds the heart. And when ego surrounds the heart, the brain is cut off from the heart, and we become non-integrated. Here we can pray Shri Vishnu Maya. Please, Shri Vishnu Maya, integrate our heart and our brain. We worship you as the one whose roots are in our heart, the one who removes artificial ideals, and the one who gives deep knowledge of the subtle. Also, she is the one who gives us chastity and protects our chastity, which is the basis to help our ego to maintain its limits. Quando c'è un problema di ego, l'ego circonda il cuore. E quando l'ego circonda il cuore, il cervello viene separato dal cuore e diventiamo non integrati. Qui possiamo pregare Shri Vishnu Maya. Per favore, Shri Vishnu Maya, integra il nostro cuore e il nostro cervello. Ti adoriamo come colei, le cui radici sono nel nostro cuore. Colei che rimuove gli ideali artificiali, colei che dà profonda conoscenza del sottile. Ancora lei ci dona la castità e protegge la nostra castità, che è la base per aiutare il nostro ego a mantenere i suoi limiti. So with all respect and reverence we can say mantra to Shri Vishnu Maya. Quindi con tutto il nostro rispetto e riverenza diciamo mantra Shri Vishnu Maya. Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Vishnu Maya Sakshat Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha. Now we can watch a short video of Shri Mataji. The first part of her speech about ego and humility in London, June 82. Ora possiamo vedere un estratto da un video di Shri Mataji che riguarda ego e umiltà, tenuto a Londra a giugno del 1982.
We had a very good session, I should say, and a very successful trip in Portugal, and even better in Spain. Portugal is a place where gurus have touched very nicely, because people are too simple, I think. And because they are too simple, they are affected too hard. And I was really confronted with so many sick people there who have been to gurus, who have been only for 2-3 years with them, are badly affected. And surprisingly, how the whole thing is exposed, that we may be able to do much better in Portugal. Now the Portuguese people get a lot of wine. They drink a lot. They really drink. I mean, they have all kinds of wines in their country. It's a very big problem of that place is it has many wines. And I think the drunkenness make them extremely lethargic. And that lethargy brought down that empire. You can see it's a very huge place. I mean, the buildings, if you see, are very beautifully done. Lots of buildings with lots of architecture, and all that is like a desolate place. The reason is the people who were at the time quite affluent were doing well. Gradually unemployment started settling down. Lots of strikes, just the same thing as I feel is happening in this country. And unemployment and amounting to starvation. First they used to get doles and all that as we get here. Gradually it stopped. Now it's so bad that all of them have to depend on their parents. There's no way. They have no source of income. Very few industries. It's one of the poorest country in the whole of Europe. That made me think about England, that we have to know that this country also may face a phase if we do not get up now. You see, it's all right to divert your attention to Falkland and all that, but it cannot feed you. So we have to understand, all the Sahaja Yogis must understand, that they all must have some sort of a degree or something on the paper. That's very important. And though you are all realized souls, and you are spiritually so endowed, everything is there. But you have to think of the whole. If the country completely goes down in its production and its capacity to activate itself, you will go down too. So your attention should be now, of course you should not be materialistic, but towards putting more activity into you, even in Sahaja Yoga, in meditating, in working it out in yourself. So lethargy is not going to pay. And this is one thing, is such an inertia that exists, that unless and until you really put in complete willpower, this inertia may not be combated, may be very difficult. Even in Sahaja Yoga, it is very easy to escape and explain, yourself, oh, I got up and this happens, that happens. But I think the symptoms are of a very dangerous type. And as Sahaja Yogis, you have to be patriotic about it, and you have to think about it. After all, you are symbols of the English people. Whatever works out in you will start working out in the rest. So how you behave towards yourself and towards the general atmosphere is very, very important. Now towards Sahaja Yoga also, the attitude has to be understood very clearly. You see, like a Maharaja in India, who lives in quite great comfort, first of all, lives like a lord, and he orders about, and then everything is lost. But still he talks like a lord, he behaves like a lord, his whole thing is the same way. Though it's not that the kingdom is there, that he is the ruler, but he'll talk like that to everyone, because the habits are formed. I think the mind also has formed the habit. The whole atmosphere is charged with such ego since long. And that's why towards Sahaja Yoga also the attitude has to be humbler, much humbler. Because without humility you cannot do it. That's one thing you must understand. It's no question of you rationally saying something about it or explaining about it. But you see, basically, one has to be extremely humble. First of all, it's a very big privilege to get realization. You know that. It's a greater privilege to go in it. And it's the greatest to be a Sahaja Yogi. It's a very great privilege that you have, which very few people have. And you are the ones who are chosen specially. But the humility part of it is still missing about Sahaja Yoga. About Sahaja Yoga. Like we should ask, make me a better Sahaja Yogi, a humbler Sahaja Yogi, a compassionate Sahaja Yogi, a sweeter Sahaja Yogi. Dissolve my. This is very important, we must understand. Because whatever works out in you will work out in this country. Arrogance is something that with ego you can never understand you have been arrogant. The way you talk to others, the way you behave towards others, you will never understand because there is ego. If you are standing in the darkness, the light is there, but it is covered with something. How will you understand where is the light? So humility must be there, because you people have very developed brains, very developed, overdeveloped brains. And that brain can, always tell you, you're better than another. Always. The another one is no good, and the third one is useless. You're the best. That's typical of the brain teachings. And when it starts working out, it's very difficult to see that the one who is saying this is nowhere. Because from the point where you see, you cannot see what you are saying. What you see is the whole thing as if you have to command it, you have to ask for it. Of course, the quality is very much changing now. Everybody is becoming very, very, very sweet and sober, and nobody now demands anything from me, like you must give me this, mother, you have to do it, you have to look after me. After all, I have been to your Caxton Hall once, and how dare you do not look after my mother when she met an accident. Something like that. That's over now. That's all. The quality is improving now. And one has started learning now how to laugh at your own ego and this and that. But I personally think that one has to realize that if you represent this country to your mother, then it has to improve still. Still I have to improve. I have to go ahead. I have to go further with it. And I have to develop that beauty of humility. Like in Portugal, they told me, Lord Byron, whom I think to be a useless fellow, absolutely good for nothing, and I regretted every minute why he was created on this earth. He went and said, Sintra is a very beautiful place. Sintra is too good to be wasted on Portuguese. It should have been for Mr. Lord Byron, whosoever he may be. Just see, typical. And it pinches everyone, everybody feels. But think, if you are the person about whom it is said, this is called alright. So one has to develop a kind of a humility that I have to still receive. Come forward. I have to still get it. It has to work out. Now, when it comes to that kind of an attitude, then you turn round. Turn round upon yourself. What have you done for Sahaja Yoga? One question. Simple question. What have you done for Sahaja Yoga? How many people have you given realization? How many people have you been able to cure? How much peace have you got within yourself? How much blissful are you? How much compassion have you got? How much forgiveness and patience you have for others? How much of sharing you can do? These are the signs of Sahaja Yogis. That you break your shell, you become the collective. How much do you understand others? And how much do you understand giving others? What have you given to others, even on material level, let's see. These questions should be put to yourself. On a very material level, these questions are to be asked. On a very material level, because the light comes down up to material level. How many people you can forgive? You are realized soul. You are prophets, no doubt. You can make others prophets. But you have to be the quality also. The quality of a prophet is his nobility. He is so noble. Nobleness. In comparison with other people who are not realized souls, he is nobler. He is more dignified. He is much more forgiving. So the whole way of dealing with others will change. He is obedient. We have to obey in Sahaja Yoga. We have to obey our good way. Otherwise you are difficult people. It's impossible. Nobody can do anything to you. If you are like a thorn, how can anybody help you? So the quality of a Sahaja Yogi is measured by another kind of a measure. It's not the way human beings measure the quality of other human beings. Like somebody has a good taste, for example, so called. Then people say, oh, he's great with a good taste. Or if he has a big car, then, oh, he's a big man. Or he talks like that, or he walks like that, or says this, that, and all those things. Or a question like this, why did you say like that? All these words, that they sound very hard to me. Why do you do like that? This kind of a language itself was not there in this English language. Nowadays the language is so changed and very rude, very arrogant, and very harmful. So first ask yourself, because Sahaja Yoga will spread, of course, slowly and steadily, I hope, only through your images. You are the reflectors. You put my thousands of posters. I'm so unique, They'll say, all right, this unique personality is taken out. No good. What about the disciples? So, actually, whatever is in the lower level animals is important. Like in lower level animals, the king is the one, say the tiger, has to kill an animal, big animal. It is he who only can kill. Till human stage also perhaps it is so. The one who can really dominate others, survival of the fittest, is the ruler. Is the other way around now. It's changed completely. How much free you are in your ideas, or you are still identified with old ideas. But free doesn't mean abandonment by any chance. Freedom means you respect the freedom of others. First and foremost thing of freedom is that you must respect the freedom of others. Even God respects your freedom. He cannot give you realization if you don't want it. You cannot force it. So respect the freedom of others. But that does not mean while respecting the freedom of others, there should be abandonment.
Jai Shri Mataji. Now we will bring attention to our right Agya and worship Lord Buddha. Ora porteremo l'attenzione sul nostro Agya destro e renderemo omaggio al Signore Buddha. We can ask Shri Buddha, please make us desireless. Let us become pure instruments. Let us reach the awareness that we don't do anything, but God is doing everything. Possiamo chiedere, Shri Buddha, per favore, rendici senza desideri, rendici strumenti puri, fa che raggiungiamo la consapevolezza che non facciamo nulla, che Dio sta facendo tutto. Now we will say the mantras of Lord Buddha. Ora diremo il mantra di Shri Buddha, che sono Buddham Sharanam Gacchami, which means I surrender to my self-realization. Prima di tutto mi arrendo alla mia realizzazione del sé. And then, e poi Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami. I surrender to Dharma in me, which is spirituality. Mi arrendo al Dharma che è in me, cioè la spiritualità. And thirdly, come terza cosa, Sangham Sharanam Gacchami, which means collectivity. I surrender myself to collectivity. Significa collettività. Mi arrendo alla collettività. So we will say it 3 times. Diremo 3 volte. Buddham Sharanam Gacchami. Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami. Sangham Sharanam Gacchami. Buddham Sharanam Gacchami. Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami. Sangham Sharanam Gacchami. Buddham Sharanam Gacchami. Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami. Sangham Sharanam Gacchami. Buddham Sharanam Gacchami. Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami. Sangham Sharanam Gacchami. And then we surrender to our Holy Mother. E poi ci rendiamo alla nostra Divina Madre, diremo 3 volte, we can say 3 times. Shri Ma Sharanam Gacchami. Shri Ma Sharanam Gacchami. Shri Ma Sharanam Gacchami. Shri Ma Sharanam Gacchami. Then we bring attention on our center, Agya. Portiamo l'attenzione a Agya centrale. We can say Ham Ksham for 3 times. Diciamo Ham Ksham 3 volte. Ham Ksham. Ham Ksham. Ham Ksham. Please, Mother, take away all our thoughts. Make us thoughtless. Per favore, Madre, porta via tutti i nostri pensieri. Rendici senza pensieri. Shri Nirvichara Mantra. Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Nirvichara Sakshat Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha. Now we pray that our little ego can dissolve in the great ego of God. Ora preghiamo che il nostro piccolo ego possa dissolversi nel grande ego di Dio. Shri Mahat Ahamkara Mantra. Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Mahat Ahamkara Sakshat Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha. And we will be in silent meditation for some time. Ora rimarremo in silenzio per un po' di tempo. Now we can sing together the 3 great mantras, and after we can take Kundalini Bandhan, do Namaskar, and we will put some music so we can continue our meditation. Ora canteremo insieme 3 grandi mantra, poi potremo alzare il Kundalini, prendere Bandhan, fare Namaskar, metteremo un po' di musica per chi desidera continuare la meditazione. Jai Shri Mataji, thank you for your participation. We wish you a very nice day. Jai Shri Mataji, grazie a tutti per la vostra partecipazione, vi auguriamo una bellissima giornata. A presto.